Hi there guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Bryndis and in today's video I'm gonna be talking about the books I want to read in May. Next week you will see me talking about the books that I read in April. But I do have two books that I'm carrying with me from April through May, to May as well. And the first book that I started it at the end of April, and it is Dark Age by Pierce Brown, the fifth book in the Red Rising saga series. And so I wasn't able to get to it until very late in April, so I'm gonna be listening to that as an audiobook as well for the first couple of weeks in May. It's quite long. It's I think 38 hours. So we'll see. I mean, it's so good and so suspenseful and like it keeps you up, like keeps your attention for sure. So I might like just put my life on hold and finish reading it, but I may also have to kind of, take my time with it. We'll see how the month progresses, but it's so far so good and I look forward to finishing it. I apologize for my voice. I do have a little bit of a cold still. Anyway, the other book that I'm carrying with me from April through to May is Les Miserables, or the Miserables, that I'm reading actually in the Icelandic translation. I started it in like around the 23rd of April, but then I kind of couldn't get to it, so I'm only about this way through like the four volumes. I mean, the Les Miserables I think is like 5 volumes, but for some reason the 5 volumes have been put into 4 volumes in the Icelandic translation. So this is how long it is, and I'm obviously very much at the beginning. I would like to finish it by the 15th of May. I am actually reading it very quickly, so I think I read like almost half of this book in one sitting because I find that it's in Icelandic, so I read Icelandic. I'm finding much quicker actually than much faster than English. So I'm just like flying through it. Also maybe because I just know the story so well because I've seen the musical and the movies so often. They're like big favorite of mine. So maybe that's why I'm going through at least parts of the story so quickly, because it's like I can just see the scenes in my head. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm not going to rush reading these books or reading this book. I'm not gonna rush in order to like finish by the 15th. And the reason I want to finish by the 15th of May is because this is a read along with Classics and Company, and their kind of discussion video is gonna be published I think on the 15th. And I would love to have finished the book before I watch that video, but of course I can always watch the video later, if I can't finish it, because I don't want to rush through this book. It's such a fun story and I love it so much. I'm really enjoying Les Miserables, and we'll see. I don't know when I will finish it, but hopefully in May at least. So for this year, I do have 2 kind of projects that are ongoing throughout the year. And one of them is to read all of the 7 novels by the Bronte sisters, Charlotte, Anne, and Emily. And I have just finished reading all the 4 books by Charlotte Bronte. And so I'm going to be reading Anne Bronte's novels next. And I'm starting with Agnes Grey. I don't know if this is her first or if this is her Anne Bronte's second book, but I want to read Agnes Grey before I read The Tenant at Wildfell Hall, I think it's called, because that one I know has been so well received and got really good critique, And I don't know as much about this one, so I don't know if it is as good. So I figured I would at least start with a short one and then and Bronte with like her masterpiece, basically. I have no idea what this is about. I think it's a governess story, because that's what those poor sisters were first forced to work as for, without really wanting to. So anyway, I look forward to reading Anne Bronte's Agnes Grey. Another project that I'm working on this year is to read 12 books by Halldór Laxness, the Icelandic Nobel laureate. He won the Nobel Prize in 1955, and I have been I've so far read 5 of his books. So this is number 6. It is called Paradisar in Icelandic, and it was published in 1960, and it has been translated into several languages, including English, and it's called Paradise Reclaimed. And I don't know a lot about this book other than there is an Icelandic young man, who moves, I think, to Utah, and there's a lot of discussion here about the Mormon Church, the Church of Latter-day LDS Church, I think it's called, and it's a historical novel. It takes place in around the turn of the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th, something like that. It says here in the beginning that it's at the time of the third last foreign king over Iceland, which would have been a Danish king, and it's funny, it's like called Christian William's son, the third last of the foreign kings to rule here upon our country. So Steinar is the protagonist, and he goes around, he's a farmer's son, and he just kind of goes around the world doing things. So it's going to be very interesting. And connected to the Halldór Laxness project is actually this book, which is his biography. This is his biography of his entire life. It's huge. So I'm not going to finish this in May, for sure. This is going to be a book that I'm going to keep on my sofa table or whatever, and just read a chapter here and there throughout the year. So my only goal is to finish it by the end of the year, basically. And Halldór Laxness, he won the Nobel Prize in 1955, and he had a very interesting life. Like, he well-traveled, lived in different countries. He went from being a very red communist to being a super religious Catholic to he did things. So I think it's going to be very interesting to read about his life. Then we have this book, Burial Rites, and I've been wanting to read this book for a long time, not that long, for a few months. I didn't know about this book. For some reason, it got completely I had no idea that this was a book. But it takes place in Iceland in 1829 to 1830, and it follows the story of Agnes, who was a poor woman who, along with her accomplice, was convicted of murder. They murdered their employee, who, really deserved to be murdered, to be honest. But anyway, he was not a good man. And so they did that, and they were both convicted and sentenced to death. And she was executed in 1830, and that was actually the last execution in Iceland. But I definitely look forward to reading this book, and I will be listening to it as an audiobook. Another book that I've been wanting to read for so long, and I just can't wait any longer, is Cersei by Madeline Miller. I wanted to read this at Easter, and I took it with me when I went home for the Easter holidays, but I wasn't able to read. There was just too many people around being interrupting me. So I didn't have time to read it. So I'm gonna read it this May, and I have a feeling that this is gonna be a quick read. I mean, it's quite like small, and it's like this type of book there where you have to like really break the spine. But I don't have it as an audiobook, so I'm going to be reading the book. But I really am enjoying Madeline Miller, and really wanna read this book. I have now 3 more books that I want to talk about. I want to though make the caveat that the first like 2 weeks of May are insane in regards to my work. I'm at the end of the semester. I teach at the university, and the grading and the evaluations and assessments is just overwhelming. So this is, I should have said it in the beginning, this is more of a pile of possibilities rather than a strict TBR. So we will just have to see what I can actually get through. And also, I think in my April TBR POP video, I talked about that I wanted to have mostly audiobooks, and I actually find that I enjoy reading physical books more when I'm spending all day in front of the computer. So it's just nice to have like something like that you can touch, and just it's different than watching a screen, because usually when I'm listening to an audiobook, I might be playing a game on my tablet or something like that, and that's obviously a screen. So I'm actually really enjoying the physical books at the moment. So that's why I have so many physical books, although I do have audiobook versions of some of these books. But I'm thinking that I will be mostly reading the physical copies. If you can hear that, it's my cat Mario having his lunch. Anyway, yeah, so the 3 books that I want to read as well in May are connected to, I think it's called Mayhem. It's like a horror read along. I will put all the information in the description and who is like hosting it. But I'm not really strictly following that, because they have weekly prompts plus like a bingo board that you can use. But I'm not really following that because I know these are the books that I want to read, and I don't know if they fit any of the prompts. So the reason why I decided to take part in Mayhem, I think it's called, or May Horror or something, is because I am determined in June to read The Shining by Stephen King. I have not been able to read it because it's so scary to me. I am such a chicken, I'm such a scaredy cat. All the scared animals you can think of, that's me. So, and the reason I want to read it, I really just want to, so the reason I want to read it is because I really want to read all of the works by Stephen King. And also I just want to like get over myself, like sometimes when if there are things that you find really difficult and hard, then that is a sign that you should actually do them. So that's what I'm doing. It's self-care. It's pushing myself a little bit out of my comfort zone, making myself do things that are difficult because I know I will actually enjoy them if I actually just do them. So that's my rationale for wanting to read The Shining. And I'm going to read it in June, because in June, here in Iceland, we have 24-hour daylight. In June, well, I mean, from like late May to like late July, I think. Here in Reykjavik area, in the north, it lasts longer. But, and then, you know, because I can just then, when I go to sleep, not put all the blinds before the windows, so that, you know, it won't be dark outside, so I won't be feeling super scared in regards to that. I'm such a scaredy cat, it's not even funny. Anyway, so the books that I want to read are books that I own, and they are not. None of them are nearly, I think, as scary as The Shining. I'm hoping. But the first book that I want to read is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So this is obviously a classic. I have not seen the Netflix series, but I might do that after I read this book. But so it was first published in 1959, and it has been hailed as a perfect work of unnerving horror. Yeah, so this is the book I'm going to be reading. Unnerving horror. Oof, okay. But this is book number 1 in my horror journey. I want to reread Carrie by Stephen King. I'm probably going to start with this one because, I mean, I don't think that for me, it's not, it's classified apparently as a horror. I've read it once, so it's a reread. I don't think that I don't know. Sometimes I'm confused too as to what is like a horror and what is like a thriller. It's definitely a thrilling, suspenseful, like, oh, what is he going to be doing? But yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna read that, and I think I'm also gonna watch the movie again with Sissy Spacek from 1976, I think. Yeah, so this is gonna be the first book that I read, I think, in the horror, and then I want to read this one. The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, because apparently this is, very scary country house, supernatural forces. Things are happening in this book, so I look forward to reading that. And I do know that there is a movie, or probably several movies or TV shows or whatever. I'm gonna try to find that as well and watch that as well. And then yeah, so these are the 3 horror. Probably gonna read them in Carrie, in this order. Carrie, The Turn of the Screw, and then Haunting of Hill House. And hopefully that will get my stamina of horror and scary things to the point where The Shining is not gonna be so horrible. So those are the books for my May TBR, Pile of Possibilities. I have like 8. I have these 8. Oh my god, I don't think I can lift them. It's such a huge stack of books. 8 physical copies and 2 audiobooks. Although one of the physical copies I also have as an audiobook. So maybe there are going to be 7 physical copies and 7 physical copies and 3 audiobooks probably. Oh my goodness. That was the thumbnail, in case you were wondering. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to May. I really look forward to all the teaching craziness being done. Hopefully I will be done with that at around 14th, 15th, 20th of May, at least no longer than the 20th of May. Everything should be done by then. And then I can like breathe. I still have to work through the summer, apart from my, normal summer holidays. But, the end of the semester is sometimes just, the workload is just inhumane, to be honest. But anyway, I'm not going to complain. I love my job. So anyway, yeah, those are the books that I'm hopefully, possibly, going to be reading in May. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you're reading. Have you read any of these books? Are you interested in reading any of these books? Let's have a talk in the comments. See you in my next video. Bye bye.